Today's all about small hybrid events. Look forward to seeing you soon. Get ready. One minute to go. Oh, it's gonna be good. You've probably wondered, what does it take? Today, we're going to tell you. Heading into the countdown. And we're away. Hi everybody, welcome. Warwick Merry is the name. Online events is the game. Today, it's all about hybrid events, and I've had so many people ask me about them. I'm of the firm belief that hybrid events can be like Frankenstein's monster. So much of all the bad bits get stitched together of both online and live events. So we need to come up with a different way to make it actually work. And there's one of my clients I've been working with who just wanted really small scale. And I wanted to go through some of the technical solution that we came up with that really works for them. In fact, it works so well, they're now selling it as a service. They are a co-working space, so they're now selling it as a service as something they offer their clients as well. So let me give you a bit of a run through that. So that's what we're here for. I'm happy to take any questions or observations. Obviously, for a lot of the event professionals who may be watching out there, you may have way more experience than me. I have just seen a whole lot of hybrid events that I've got to tell you haven't really worked to my liking. They just didn't quite capture what was possible. And when it comes to small events, and I've seen this in corporate offices where they'll just go, oh, well, we just have a laptop and we'll just point it at the speaker. But it just doesn't work. It makes it a horrible experience for everyone. I had a prospect call me and say, look, we want to do a hybrid events. We're going to have 3 groups of 15 people in 3 different locations. And it was like, why would you do that? Like, you're then making it almost impossible for everyone to have a good time. So I want to go through some of the stuff that we did and answer any questions that you might have regarding it as well. I was having a bit of an issue setting up for LinkedIn though. So, yep, no, it's all working, which is great. All right, gold. So, I think one of the biggest challenges is people just wing it because the technology can do stuff. They'll go, well, we'll just have a phone or a laptop or a tablet. We can pass it around, or people can just walk up to the corner where the camera is and talk to them. But it has to be a good experience for everyone. So let me just tell you a bit about the case study and what we did. The client is a co-working space in Southeast Melbourne. It's the EIBC, the Eastern Innovation Business Centre. And they have 2 great big buildings, a whole lot of clients on site, and a whole lot of temporary people who come in and out and need to. Now, because it's in the middle of COVID, because they're a co-working space, because they don't have massive funds for it, we had it's one of those low or no budget kind of things. So we had to sort of look at, it was almost MacGyver-ish. How can we use what we've got and create something that really works well? So we wanted probably about 25 people max in a meeting room that we could engage with as many people as you wanted online. And it was mainly based for professional services, but you could use it for other stuff as well. So that's the case study. So let me just go through what some of the issues are. But before we do that, it's important that you know who I am. So let me just give you the big lowdown. So I'm Warwick Merry, certified speaking professional, certified virtual presenter twice. And I've spent a lot of time helping organise, host and produce these different online events. So that's sort of my background and why we're doing it today. And if you need help with your online events, be it hybrid or just straight online, get in touch. Happy to help you when I can. So let's talk about the different elements that need to be considered. Number one, what I call the Holy Trinity. When it comes to online performances, events, or transmissions, there's the Holy Trinity, which is, of course, the Holy Trinity, it's this. The Holy Trinity is composition. You've got to get the shot right in terms of how you make it up. The lighting, got to get the lighting right, and also you've got to get the sound right. Those three things you've got to get right, and one of them is way more important than the other. So composition, we had to look at, what if I needed to put slides on the screen? I want people online and people in the room to be able to see it. I want them to be able to see what's going on. But also, if I'm a speaker or the presenter or the person running the meeting, we need to be footage of me as well to get that sort of stuff happening. But we also want a nice background. So fortunately at the LBC, they just redone a room. They'd put some nice soundproofing in so it wasn't going to be disturbed by other members and they wouldn't disturb other members. And there's a great big white wall that was in fact set up as a whiteboard wall. So it was a nice matte finish on it, so it wasn't going to be reflective. That could be used as a simple background. And we talked about options for, you could just use simple lighting and change some colouring or have some pull-up banners if you need to, for just a very simple, nice background without getting too carried away. When it comes to backgrounds, big believer in less is more. Lighting. Now, the lighting in this venue is awesome in that they've got lots of windows and lots of bright lights above. So in fact, there was more than enough light and it was a nice even spread. Because they're only looking at a small 25 people max kind of environment, it didn't really need to be full production lighting with, front lights and colours and whiz bang and moving goodness. It's well lit and it gives you a good look. And I've got some imagery that I'll show you shortly about that. The sound is the biggest problem. And I've got to say, for any online thing, out of the Holy Trinity, the composition and the lighting you can sort of get away with, the sound you can't. You've got to get that right. And here's the challenge with hybrid. If you've got 25 in the audience, someone has a question, how do you get that so we can pick up their question and get the footage of them asking the question for everyone else online? And anyone who's online, how do we hear what they're talking about as well? So sound was an issue that we needed to consider, and we came up with I think we came up with a fairly decent solution. And because sometimes you might be using, let's say, Zoom, and so you want to see people on the screen and not using slides, and other times you are. So we wanted to make sure that we could get input from the audience, but also minimize any feedback. So that's what we're looking. So what was the solution? Well, let me show you what the solution was. The solution was this. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, what the heck does this mean? So hang on. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to walk you through it in a sec. Basically, as far as budgeting is concerned, the CEO had a DSLR, an older Canon DSLR that they weren't using. Personally owned. They personally owned it. So we were able to use that. A lot of the camera companies, and I know Panasonic, Canon, and I think Nikon as well, they've released software so you can use DSLRs as a webcam. And the reason why I'm a big fan of a DSLR in this instance is if you have a camera operator, they can then swivel from looking at the speaker to the audience and use the lens to zoom in on the audience to get the footage of the audience member or their table where they're asking a question. You don't need to be a professional camera person, and basically we've got, at the EOBC, they've got a couple of the team administrators who help operate everything. So one of them works as the camera operator, or if you want to rent the place, you'll bring your own individual in, and it's really quite simple to zoom in, zoom out, bit of autofocus, and you're away. So that worked really well, and also, it saves spending the money. Webcams are just going to be a nice big broad spread, so it wasn't really going to do it. We were able to hook up using, I think we had to spend like $20 on a cable that we could just plug from the camera, straight into a USB. Download the free software from Canon, bang, we had our vision sorted. So that was great. So we were able to get the vision sorted for the first one. The next step was to look at the background. And again, they had a TV, the large TV that stand they had on the background, so that we're able to put that on a stand. And again, it was one of the things we already had in the OBC, so we had the background for that as well. The thing that they didn't have was the sound, and so what we're able to do is get a Rode NTG microphone. I'm going to talk about that in a sec. Now, this is essentially what's referred to as a shotgun microphone. So it means that we can shoot down and direct towards whoever's speaking, and it actually has quite a bit of distance, and it means that we can have someone asking a question a distance away. It'll work in a room of 20 to 25, not much bigger. The sound acoustics in the room are such that it's got good sound management from going to other rooms, but within the room, the sound travels nicely, so you can pick up. And we've tested the sound, and it actually works rather well. So that was the setup. But there are two layouts that we had. So let me just run through the two layouts. This is the first one when you're operating as a... If you're operating as a... just a Zoom, you're not using PowerPoints. So you'll have the speaker here where the speaker is looking into this as the combination of the microphone and the camera. They can look into it, they can see what's going on the Zoom screen, but they can also look beyond at the audience because you want to engage both audiences. That's one of the big mistakes that you see in hybrid. The speaker will engage the audience they're connected to. If they're in the room, it's the people in the room. They'll glance at the camera every now and again. If they're online, they'll engage online, but it's harder to engage with the room. And the TV just reflects what's going on Zoom and has, the speaker of the TV, you can hear it in the room and hear the sound. Then if someone is talking in the audience, has questions in the audience, you can turn the camera to the audience. That's the first setup. The second setup is when you're having slides. What we found was that it was better to have a second laptop. So you could run the slides off the second laptop so the people in the audience can see the presentation. And that second laptop has a second login to the Zoom or whatever software you're using call. So again, you'll have the camera operator focusing on the speaker and on the audience if they have any questions. And you can spotlight both they do a share screen for the slides on the first Zoom and then a spotlight on the main Zoom. What that will do is show both the speaker and then show the speaker and the speaker's camera, and then show the slide deck as well. So that's a way that you can run the slide deck. And just a simple clicker, will work on the second laptop. It's pretty much go for itself. So the key thing that makes it smooth is having someone who's confident on the camera to, should they need to, zip and flip to the audience. So it's really quite an easy setup, and it didn't cost a great deal of money to do so. Now, this is, I've just blurred out some of the people there. But you can see it's a very simple setup here. They gave it a test run for their Christmas party, and so they had a few people off site who couldn't come in, and so they would have people you could talk to on the Christmas party or engage. And it's really quite a simple setup. They had a couple of stands around the joint that they could use both as the stand for the camera and for the laptop to be able to use. And you can see in this picture the lighting that they've got. It's really quite bright, so it was quite easy to see everybody. So this is the camera. This is a Rode NTG. I'm a huge fan, A, of Rode, but B, of this microphone. And the reason I'm a fan of it is that it works as a USB microphone as well. So it's the kind of, if you're looking for a microphone, it'll work as a shotgun mic, also as a mic for your any work that you're doing. It has, you can see there at the very back, there's a little round part of the microphone. It can dial up and down if you need to increase or decrease your pickup volume. So it really is quite a good microphone. So as I say, I'm a fan of it myself. So what this means was, as I said, they tested it with the Christmas party. They had a few people on board. They set up a little room where you could go and speak into the camera and then look at the TV and meet the different people on Zoom. That worked incredibly well, so much so afterwards one of the people came up to the CEO and said, I'm really interested in using this setup. Their intent was to set this up to hire out, so they're now looking at hiring it out. I was speaking to the CEO yesterday, and she said that if you're interested, she's more than welcome to run you through it if you want to hire it, or if you just want to check what's going on, get in touch with me and I'm happy to connect you. So it can be a nice and easy way to do those smaller setups. It's really easy to set up as well. They have a dedicated laptop for this as well as the camera gear, and for security purposes, it locks up to a pretty small place into one of the internal cupboards. So It's a really funky little setup that we're able to come with that meets all their criteria. Let's be honest, it's not perfect. When it comes to the hybrid world, I'm yet to find something that is. But it's a great way that you can engage the online audiences and the face-to-face audiences and create some sort of energy, all with minimal tech. So for yourself, if you're running an office and you're thinking, well, we've got different locations, maybe we want to set that up, that'd be, it would be a very easy thing to do. I think that microphone's like about $300. If you wanted to, you could probably look. The DSLRs are good, or the mirrorless cameras are good because you can zoom in. Now, if you've got you can buy little zoom lenses for iPhones, mate. If you could just get one of those for, let's say, $100, that would do the job as well. If you had a small meeting room in your office, so I love expensive tech, but sometimes you can just start and test it out with the more affordable stuff and then go, you know what, this is going to be a permanent part of our lives. We can upgrade to the next level of tech. So that's what's possible out there on hybrid. But there are some things to consider, and there's a whole lot of strategies behind hybrid that a lot of people miss. So I'd love to help you in some way, shape, manner, or form if I can, if you have any questions. And so no questions have come through except from Donna Marie. Thank you, Donna Marie.
Excellent.
We love the work that you do. So if you have any questions, please reach out, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you and just show you some of the pitfalls that you might be looking for so that you can avoid them. That's the key thing, avoid those pitfalls. All right, you've been fantastic. I've been Warwick. This is all part of the online events, Get Events Online Events live stream, which happens this time, Thursday, 9 a.m. Melbourne time, every week, where we talk about getting events online in some shape, manner, or form. Thanks for being here. I look forward to your company.